Well, it looks like the schedule and the lineup are all set. After their official coronation ceremony at Westminster Abbey on May 6th, King Charles and Queen Camilla are set to ride in the Gold State Coach during a procession through the streets of London, all the way back to Buckingham Palace. And according to documents that were recently leaked, Prince William, Catherine, and their beautiful children, Prince George, Prince Louis, and Princess Charlotte, are going to be riding in the carriage behind them. Now they'll be followed by Princess Anne and her husband Tim, as well as Prince Edward and his wife Sophie, and then 4 of the late Queen Elizabeth's cousins too. A royal source spoke with In Touch magazine, saying this event has been meticulously planned with Charles getting the final say, of course. Working royals only are front and center, and this means that Harry and Meghan Markle have been relegated to the positions of common spectators. The source revealed that Charles alone was not responsible for this decision, saying, as non-working royals, Charles is putting them in the same box as Prince Andrew. They won't be part of the procession, nor will they stand on the balcony with the rest of the family when they reach the palace. William and Catherine managed to convince the king that Harry and Meghan are, quote, troublemakers and should be cut out, and Charles listened. This is so humiliating for Harry and Meghan. In the beginning, their invitation was viewed as a type of olive branch, but among all the drama stirred up by his bombshell memoir Spare, Harry publicly urged his family to come clean about how they treated Meghan. The source reports he's been expecting an apology from Charles, but William, who feels that Harry is acting like an immature brat, has convinced their father to hold Harry accountable for his behavior. Charles was willing to admit he's far from perfect, but the idea of issuing an apology just to make peace has been thrown out the window now. The situation is tense and awkward for all. Things are probably going to get even worse when Meghan and Harry show up in London. They're going to have to stay in a hotel because Charles recently kicked them out of their home, Frogmore Cottage. He gave the keys to his brother Andrew, of all people. And Harry and Meghan's children, Archie and Lilibet, reportedly were not even invited to the coronation because they were considered too young by the palace. To avoid a complete catastrophe, the king has scheduled a crisis summit with his sons, provided that Harry doesn't bow out of coming to the coronation altogether. Charles wants them to hash out their differences before the celebration begins, says the source. But the source also reports that William is still raging. Aides are warning Charles it may not be the best approach. The last thing they need to deal with is a full-blown showdown right before the coronation. They think Charles should keep the brothers as far apart as possible. Anything else is a recipe for disaster. Now, there were some rumors circulating that Charles had a secret meeting with Prince Harry when he came to London recently to testify before the High Court in that phone hacking case involving the royal family, but the palace never confirmed that this meeting took place. When the day of the coronation finally arrives, all eyes are going to be focused on William, Catherine, Harry, and Meghan, but it's possible that both couples will never be seen in the same frame together, says the source. Harry and Meghan will have nosebleed seats. Also, Harry hasn't totally committed to going. He said he's going, but it was a half-hearted response. He knows how humiliating this will be for him and his wife. In spite of the decision, though, Charles is still hoping that Harry is going to come, according to the source. He doesn't want to ostracize his flesh and blood completely, but there's another element to this. Charles knows that Harry had to cut pages from Spare, so there could be a second, even more scathing book if Charles really enrages Harry. It's a dance. Many people have noticed lately that Meghan has been suspiciously quiet and out of the public eye. The source reports, though, it must burn that Kate got her way. William and Kate have finally gotten their revenge on Harry and Meghan, although anything can happen when it comes to Harry and Meghan. They're unpredictable. However, according to the latest news, Harry and Meghan's not showing up to the coronation might encourage some conflict. The PR pushing this whole narrative is apparently pretty out of touch when it comes to the true perspective of the British public, and certainly the royal family too. The feud that's been raging between Harry and Meghan and the royal family is pretty bad, and it's only getting worse. So whether or not the desultory duo comes, strife is going to continue to be there with no time in clearing the air. So what exactly is the worst of two evils in this situation? Well, if they show up, there's going to be a lot of controversy. There will be boos from the public, and the royal family will feel stressed out because, of course, they don't want to see Harry and Meghan, and they certainly don't want to have to accommodate them. Honestly, though, Harry and Meghan pulling a no-show would be the biggest blessing ever. They wouldn't have to worry about hiring a professional babysitter just to watch over them, to make sure that they don't pull any stunts and play up to the cameras. The palace can rest easy knowing that they're not going to have to put up with them in any way, and King Charles can just enjoy a lovely coronation in all its finery and splendor. He does deserve that, and the royal family deserves some peace for once. I hope that the two of them don't show up. I hope they just stay away altogether. They can stay in Montecito and celebrate Archofficial's birthday. And they're not going to be welcome if they do show up, and they're going to feel that from both sides. They're going to feel the public rejection, and they're also going to feel frozen out by the royal family, because at this point, why would the royal family want anything to do with the two of them? And is it possible for them to show up at the last minute? Will they even be allowed to come if they just show up and didn't tell anybody that they were planning to come? As we all saw, Harry showed up very suddenly for that court hearing earlier this week. Considering that, I think it's possible that they want to come at the very last minute and make a surprising entrance. As usual, they'll try to walk in last, just like they did at the Jubilee celebrations, whatever they can do to get maximum attention for themselves. And what kind of reception do they really think they're going to get? They truly are legends in their own minds. I hope that people literally freeze them out, turn their backs on them from the time they get off that plane until they get back on the plane. I hope the family makes them feel so unwelcome that they never want to return. Because if they're there, it's not out of love or respect for Charles and William and Catherine, and certainly not for the country they hate so much. They do not deserve to be there. Harry has told the world through his stupid book Spare and televised interviews that the monarch and his family don't deserve any respect from him. Harry is pathetic, he's a bum, and he despises his family because they won't give in to his tantrums anymore. Obviously, Harry has a lot of problems with being independent. Now he's expected to tie his own shoes and he doesn't know how to. But on the other hand, maybe Meghan should encourage Harry to go alone to acknowledge how important this occasion is. She, no matter what, needs to stay home with those invisible kids. They're too young to come and they definitely can't participate. Now, supposedly, it's also Archofficial's birthday, and that's an event that Meghan has argued is just as important as the coronation. This arrangement would be the best for everybody. But unfortunately, we know good and well Meghan does not care about what is best for everybody. Meghan just cares about making a spectacle, getting some attention for herself, getting footage for their next Netflix project, and also monetizing her invisible kids at any cost. She worked pretty hard to alienate Harry from his own family, so I don't think she's going to do anything to undermine her own efforts.